Welcome to Christianity for Christians. I'm Brother Dan. I just wanted to make a short video here to summarize my first video on Deuteronomy 22, 28, and 29. And the reason is because I want to just get to the highlights, because this is so fascinating. This is one of the most controversial portions of Scripture in the Bible if you translate it wrong. If you translate it right, it makes perfect sense. But here's where the big problem comes in translation. Now, if you read verse 28, it says, "If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lie with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all the days of his life." Now, the reason that's problematic is because the phrase that Moses used, to lay hold on her, Bible translators, and you'll see this probably in your more modern version of the Bible. I have an old King James from in the 80 something that I bought a giant print. Good thing, because my eyes aren't too good. So, and it says lay hold on. Now they translated that in the rape. So it would read something like this. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and rape her, then they're essentially to be married. In other words, if the woman has to marry her rapist. This is insane. They have no idea what they're talking about. And that translation word, rape, comes from the Hebrew word tafas. Now, the Hebrew word tafas is not, rape is just one of the words used to describe or define the word tafas. Other words that are used are like unwarranted, not justified, to seize. The reason Moses worded it that way is because in Jewish traditions and customs, the girl's father is supposed to give her in marriage, you see. And it's not like our times where, young people just go out and date and start having sex. Back then that was taboo. That was serious. You didn't just do that. You didn't just, find a girl and do the wild thing. You had to go through the right procedure here. You had to work it out with the family. Her father had to give her in marriage. These traditions and customs were very serious. And what Moses is communicating is that this was an offense, a violation, unwarranted, not justified. It wasn't a rape. It was, the violation was that the whole traditions and customs were violated. And the girl's father would be fuming. This was so taboo. That was unacceptable. You have no idea. So this is why it was phrased this way. And it's really an amendment from Exodus chapter 22, verse 16. Let me read that to you, and you'll start to see what I'm talking about, okay? Because this is really fascinating. So when you look in Exodus, let's see, starting at verse 16 and 17, "And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her," and the word entice is seduce, right? "He shall surely endow her to be his wife." So in other words, what Moses is saying, hey, look, regardless of engagement and doing things the proper way, they're married. She's no longer a virgin, they're married. You did the wild thing. And by the way, that's exactly what Jesus teaches in Matthew chapter 19. Go read it. Okay, starting with verse 4. When two people have an intimate relationship, as far as God is concerned, you're married. In other words, the difference between dating and marriage is when the clothes come off. And we see this being spelled out here clearly in Exodus. Now, in verse 17, it says, "If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay the money according to the dowry of virgins." In other words, now the father cannot allow them to be married, prevent this marriage. But that created a big problem for Moses, because God told him, no, if they have an intimate relationship, they're married. So then we go to Deuteronomy 22, and there it is. That's the amendment. That's the correction, because now Moses is essentially saying the same thing, except now he's using the phrase to lay hold on, which also it communicates the utter contempt that the children of Israel would have for just going out and having a sexual relationship outside of the customs and traditions of betrothal and the father giving the girl in marriage. And then they had the wedding feast. I mean, this was a big thing among the Jews, and it should be. It shows civility, social and spiritual civility, because, we're not a bunch of animals, and they sure weren't. They did things very specifically. So if you look at it from the perspective of the father, yeah, you grabbed you laid hold of my daughter. This is unwarranted. This is unjustified. So Moses is communicating this contempt in that phrase. You understand? God is not telling Moses, if a guy rapes a girl who's a virgin, no less, then they're married. He just has to give the guy some money. That's ludicrous. And the evidence is, you do not see rape marriages in the Old Testament. Nowhere. We'd see a history of rape marriages. And you don't see it in the New Testament. No Christian, no one ever interpreted it that way for thousands of years. All of a sudden, in our modern translation, these super intellectual Bible scholars brought it upon themselves to translate that phrase into the word rape. Makes you wonder, huh? Kind of makes you wonder, right? Turn God into a monster, So anyways, there it is. If you want more detail, my other video that is titled Deuteronomy 22, 28, and 29, you can watch that, and I get into a lot more detail on this, and you'll clearly see and understand that phrase, it's perfect if you understand what's really going on. All right. Okay, God bless you, and this is too much fun. I mean, really, this is so interesting. All right, until next time.